Hi, everyone. We're just going to give people a few more minutes to join, and we'll get started here in a minute or two. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Welcome, and thank you for joining the National Down Syndrome Society's webinar, Opportunity Unlocked, Entrepreneurship for People with Down Syndrome. As we celebrate National Entrepreneurship Month, we're excited to have you with us. And today we will explore what meaningful work can look like and how to support individuals with Down syndrome in creating their own business opportunities. My name is Jessica Kuss, and I'm the Director of Community Programs here at NDSS. Before we dive into the content of today's webinar, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items to ensure that everyone has an enjoyable experience throughout today's webinar. If you experience any technical issues during the webinar, please use the chat function to notify our support team, and we will do our best to assist you promptly. Our presenters will answer questions at the end of the webinar, so we encourage you to submit your questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A feature located near the bottom of the screen. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible during the designated time and provide emails afterwards should you have additional questions. If we're unable to answer the question or you have a specific question, that is when it might be best for you to email us afterwards. We will not be using the raise hand feature. This webinar is being recorded, and we will share it on the NDSS YouTube channel and the NDSS website within a few days. You will receive an email link within the next couple days with the links to some of the resources mentioned along with the presentation slides. Thank you so much, and let's get started. NDSS is creating a world where individuals with Down syndrome thrive. We are built upon 4 pillars of resources and support, research, advocacy and policy, and community engagement. And within our resources and support, our employment program seeks to increase access to the workforce for all people with Down syndrome through collaboration with NDSS affiliate organizations, employers, government agencies, and other key stakeholders. NDSS creates meaningful change in the professional lives of people with Down syndrome across the country. Specifically, NDSS advocates for policies that increase access to competitive integrated employment for individuals, provide valuable resources, support, and training to the community, and offer technical assistance to corporations and highlight the success of employees and business owners with Down syndrome. We will share many resources, and I know Linda and Jenny have another holiday shop to share with you, but if you are looking for a gift this holiday season, here is the link to our holiday gift guide for you to shop with a purpose this season and spread some joy. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Jenny and Linda Anderson, who are co-founders of Celebrate EDU, a national nonprofit that empowers individuals with developmental disabilities through entrepreneurship and business education. Jenny is a recognized nonprofit leader, and Linda brings her experience as an entrepreneur to guide the program's mission. We're excited to have you both with us today, so feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much, Jessica. We're really glad to be here. And we have another entrepreneur that you can see her. We will be talking with her a little bit later and after we do some slides, but this is our good friend Anna Sasser, who is joining us as well on this webinar. So Jenny, any words?
Oh, just thanks for everyone for being here. We're excited to share some resources and hopefully answer questions about entrepreneurship for people with Down syndrome today.
Perfect. So I'm going to get started and share my screen. As I said, we are joined by Anna Sasser, and we will be meeting her, and she'll be sharing some information in a little bit. So I'm not sure a lot of people know this, but there are 31 million entrepreneurs in the United States. It is a very, very viable path for people with disabilities. Most people think of entrepreneurs that are famous, like some of these people I'm sure all of you recognize. All of them or most of them. Walt Disney happens to be always a favorite when we talk about him as one of the most famous entrepreneurs that is very well known. But the reality is, most entrepreneurs are not famous. Most entrepreneurs are regular entrepreneurs that are living in your community. So that could be the owner of your local coffee shop or your comic book shop, someone that takes care of your lawn, cuts your hair maybe, or even people that have a lemonade stand. So if you ever had a lemonade stand or sold something in the community or provided a service, then you can consider yourself an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are everywhere, and there's lots of different ways you can find them and get to know them. And Jenny's going to talk a little bit about how you can actually learn entrepreneurship through entrepreneurial education and learn how you can gain more skills through that process. Self-employment is the fastest growing sector of our economy. This is due to a lot of reasons, mostly because of technology. Technology has allowed people to start businesses with very little cost. You don't even need your own website anymore. If you want to sell a product or provide a service, you can use a third-party website. You can sell things on Etsy. You can list your services on something like TaskRabbit or any of these apps that allow you to start your business much more easily than you could have prior to where we are today with our technology in the world that we live in. It's a digital world. So that's really encouraging. So don't need to invest a lot of money anymore to start a business. You can do so on very little money to get started and use technology to really grow and make sure that you have something that people are interested in paying for. This is one of my favorite statistics. It comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics in a 2022 survey. Individuals with disabilities are 2 times more likely to be self-employed than those without disabilities. And there's a lot of reasons why this is true. And I'm going to talk about some of those right now. And you can think about whether or not that could be a good fit for you. Why does it work? Well, we know this from research, but we also know this from our hundreds of people that we work with that celebrate EDU supports. We hear from them why this is a good path for them. And here's some of the reasons. It's a comfortable work environment. Most entrepreneurs work at home or in a small area where they're not around a lot of people in the public. They can have an environment where they are supported and not being, having to deal with a lot of outside influence in where they're working. A lot of people have a hard time with transportation because they may not drive or they may have, other physical disabilities that they can't get to where they need to go to work. So when you work for yourself, you can work in a place that's easy for you to get to. So you don't have to deal with transportation getting to and from work. It's also interest driven. You're able to do something that you are interested in doing. A lot of times people get jobs in the community and they might enjoy getting the paycheck, but they may not really like the job that they're doing. They may not like the tasks, but you're going to hear from Anna how much it's super important to be doing something she enjoys doing and that she's also very good at. And so that's a very nice thing to know when you have your own business. You're doing something that you're interested in and that you really enjoy doing. You can customize your own schedule when you have your own business. When you work for someone else, they usually set the schedule for you. They usually are the ones that are saying, I need you to come in at 8 o'clock and I need you to leave at 4 o'clock, or I need you to come in the evening, or I need you to come late or stay late. Those kinds of things are often very challenging for people with disabilities to have that flexibility. So when you can customize your schedule, working the hours that work for you, where you may be a morning person or you may be an evening person or whatever, you can work around your schedule. You can also make a schedule where you are working on the days and times when you have support. So that means that you have the people around you to help you working on your business. And that can be something very important, especially when you're getting started. It's also predictable. I know, like for my son specifically, who happens to be an entrepreneur on the autism spectrum, he needs predictability. He needs to know in advance what he's going to be doing, when he's going to be doing it, what the expectations are for him to accomplish that week or that day. And when you work for someone else, you don't have that ability to know what's coming next. You're usually being told what's going to happen versus choosing what you want to happen. So these are just 5 very important reasons why people with disabilities can be very successful in entrepreneurship and having their own business. Here's an entrepreneur some of you might know. We're going to meet a few of these through the day, or through our session today. But this is Allison. She lives down in Florida, and she has a business called Doggy Delights by Allison. And Allison had a lot of health issues, and it made it impossible for her to go out into the community and get a job. So instead, she's working at home, running her own business, very successful business. We sold out of all of her dog treats at our Celebrate shop this weekend. But she's able to work again in that customized, in that environment that's safe. It allows her, it's accommodating for her physical ailments, anything that she needs help with. If she's having any issues, she can still run her business and not have to be out in the community. Another entrepreneur that a lot of you may know is Mr. John Cronin of John's Crazy Socks. He also has the ability to not only work on a days and times he wants, but he's created a business where he can hire people with differing abilities to also work at his business, which is something you get to do if your business gets big enough and you decide you want to hire some people. You can also hire people with disabilities to work there. That's something you can't do when you work for someone else. So those are just a couple of entrepreneurs who have used self-employment as a really good path for them to be successful and to let it accommodate their needs. I'm going to turn it over to Jenny now.
Yeah. So even if you're just kind of exploring self-employment as an option, entrepreneurial education, just learning about entrepreneurship and the mindset of an entrepreneur can be really valuable, even if you never start your own business. So it's a great way to get started and explore whether this is an option for you. Entrepreneurial education is teaching the knowledge, skills, and mindset needed to find opportunity, solve problem, and create new ideas or businesses. So this is a different type of education, but can be really valuable in a lot of aspects of your life. I'm going to walk through a handful of ways to teach entrepreneurial skills without even having to start a business, just to start exploring the idea of entrepreneurship to see if it's a good fit for you. First is uncovering your interests and strengths. And like Linda said, often when people start their own business, it's built off of their own interests, like Anna's going to share later. Allowing students to connect their passions and interests to what they could start a business, how they could start a business. So really exploring the things that you like and seeing if it's something that people will pay for. One thing that's really important is you could be interested in something, but it might not be a business. And that happens all the time. And that's okay. So seeing if there's a way, really the goal of starting your own business is something you love to do, something you're interested in, and something people are willing to pay for. And wherever that meets in the middle, that's where you can find a great business. Learning business vocabulary, and this is so helpful whether or not you start a business, just while you're in the world. So creating activities to encourage business terms like customers, competitors, things that you'll inevitably learn if you are starting your own business, but being able to be comfortable with those words and that terminology while you're exploring this idea can be really, really valuable. This is my favorite one, meeting local entrepreneurs. like what Linda said, most entrepreneurs are not the famous entrepreneurs. There are so many small businesses in your community where you can meet and get to know entrepreneurs, hear their stories, learn from them, see if it's a good fit for you to start your own business, shadow them. So either going to visit small businesses, inviting them to come to a community event, or if you're in school, a class to teach about their and share their experiences can be a really great way to make it seem not so scary, because there are so many people who start their own businesses. And I really encourage looking and reading and following entrepreneurs with Down syndrome. There's a lot out there. So as we talk through some of them today, that's a great way to get started. Following them on social media, hearing their stories, things like that, so that you can really explore the opportunity. Practice setting goals. Setting goals is huge in all parts of your life. It's very important if you're starting your own business. I recommend starting small and really working on creating goals that you can accomplish in a day or a week, just to get comfortable with setting your goals. You're actually 42% more likely to achieve your goal if you write it down. So writing down your goals and setting SMART goals, which is a method that you can search online. That's a very popular goal setting method that can really help you get comfortable setting goals. And then as you get comfortable accomplishing those goals, really growing into bigger and better goals for your future. Understanding money and finance. Running a business requires you to handle money. So working on budgeting, pricing, hands-on exercises, getting comfortable talking about money, dealing with money is really going to be important. It's a great skill for all life. It's also an entrepreneurship skill. Learning how to solve problems. Now, this is a really hard skill. And there's a couple things that we recommend you doing. Just really, when a problem does arise, taking a minute to sit down and think about different ways that you could solve that problem. Starting to talk through and think through multiple ways for you to solve a problem as it comes up. Even just coming up with an example of a problem and thinking, how would I deal with this if this happened? And talking about different ways to think about that when real problems do end up coming up. And inevitably they will. When you start a business, you will always be encountering different problems. It's a great way to start practicing that skill, thinking through different scenarios that might happen and getting comfortable making those choices when problems will arise. Practicing business etiquette. This is something super easy that everyone can do. Practicing a handshake is the easiest way. Just getting comfortable, introducing yourself to people, shaking their hand, knowing that you will, as an entrepreneur, meet people and need to tell them about your business and yourself. So getting more and more comfortable being able to meet strangers and talk with them, and practicing those skills, smiling, listening, all really good business etiquette skills. This one is one we have a resource for you guys today on. Really important for everybody, but really, really important for entrepreneurs. No entrepreneur does it by themselves. I've never met an entrepreneur who has not had support. So we like to talk about everyone having their own support network. And this image here on the screen is our support network that we use at Celebrate EDU, where you have your name in the middle, your main support person, and then all the other supports around you. You can do this in a lot of different scenarios. You can say, here's my support network for my business. Here's my support network for just life, or things that you're learning. So some of the favorite things, obviously, there's a lot of parents in your support network. There could be organizations, like if you're in school or if you're going to a program. There's also I've seen people put pets in their support network, great supports. So thinking through, who do you have around you to support you? And I also encourage you to think, who do I not have? If I need to find somebody to help me with a website, maybe write someone to help me with a website in one of these circles. That way you can start looking for a person that you can add to your support network as well. So you will have this resource today after the session. There are many different proven benefits of entrepreneurship education. So not just starting your own business, as Linda talked about, but just going through these kind of activities to think more like an entrepreneur can be very beneficial. Obviously, understanding business when you're learning that terminology and understanding more about how business works, that can be really, really valuable just as a consumer as well. When you're out in the world buying things, you are interacting with different businesses. So understanding more about business is very valuable. Creativity and motivation. The more you're exploring your business ideas or your interests, that can really spur creativity. Anna is a great example of a very creative person. And then motivation and that goal setting can really encourage you to be more motivated to do things. Improved communication. We talked a lot. I already talked about introducing yourself, but being able to talk with customers and really, get comfortable sharing your ideas and what you want to do can be really valuable. Financial literacy, talked about money management. So we always are interacting with money. So yeah, problem solving skills and self-advocacy, which is a huge one. And I'm going to turn it back over to Linda, and she's going to talk a little bit more about self-advocacy and how important that is.
Thanks, Jenny. That was a lot of good information of why entrepreneurial education can provide you a lot of different skills that are going to help you in every part of your life, whether you start a business or get a job or just, exploring what the opportunities are. Having those skills that we just listed out are extremely important for every aspect of your life. But the number one thing that we know that comes from entrepreneurship education is self-advocacy. Self-advocacy, defined, is the ability to identify your needs and communicate them to others. It's basically taking charge of your own life. Instead of having people tell you what you need to do or what you should do, you're going to start making decisions for your life. What do I want to do? What do I need help with? What do I want to do with my time? Where do I want to work? Where do I want to live? All of those are self-advocacy traits. So some of these really important skills that self-advocates have are knowing your strengths. No one is good at everything. No one has the same strengths. We are all very different. And some people are really good at certain things. Some people are very good at their communication, or sometimes they're very creative, like Anna. She's an artist. I'm not an artist. I will tell you that is not one of my strengths. I still draw stick people. So knowing your strengths, what you are good at, and maybe some things you're not good at, that's great. That's really part of self-advocacy, is understanding those things about yourself. Knowing how to solve problems, extremely important self-advocacy skill. I'll never forget, my son was, this was a while ago. He was out, he was going to take the bus. He was going to I don't even know where he was going, to a store or something, and he was going to take this bus on this bus route, and he knew what time the bus was coming, and he knew where it was going to drop him off. Guess what? The bus broke down. The bus didn't show up. He had a problem. What was he going to do? Giving him the skills to understand how you can solve problems that come up in, like Jenny said, they come up in everything, not just in a business, they come up in everyday life. Learning what to do and how to solve those problems are major important skills for self-advocacy. Self-advocates also have self-confidence. When you know about yourself, you know what you're good at, you know what you like, you can have a lot of confidence in yourself. So that's really important, to have that confidence of things. I know things that I'm really good at, and I know I can do these things, and feel good about yourself. Another really important self-advocacy skills for people with Down syndrome is knowing your rights, knowing what the rules are that protect you out in the community, whether that's laws regarding housing, laws regarding school, accommodations that you can ask for that are legally required. Those are things we want you to really understand and know that you can ask for those supports when you need them. Again, we've talked about setting goals. Knowing how to set a goal again, like Jenny said, it could be a goal that you want to accomplish today. Like maybe you want to do a load of laundry. That's a goal. Like I'm sick of looking at this pile of laundry and I want to do my laundry today. That's a goal. And you can make sure that you accomplish that. And if you write it down and you accomplish it, you can feel good about yourself. And then you can expand to bigger and bigger goals as you evolve. And the final, most important thing I think self advocates do is know how to ask for help. As I said before, no one does. No one runs a business by themselves. No one does most anything by themselves. We all have a support network that we rely on for all different kinds of things in our life. And so knowing those people, who those people are, identifying them by filling out your support network, and then knowing, feeling comfortable asking for the help that you need when you need it. Really, really important. So again, we have another resource for you, and it's our self-advocacy checklist. And this will be available as a PDF. And we want you to go through this and really think about these questions. Do you know what your interests and strengths are? Some people don't know. So that's okay. Explore that. Take some time to figure that out. We want you to be able to list that. You know the people and organizations to support you. You understand your diagnosis and can explain that to people. A lot of people with Down syndrome have other diagnoses as well. So being comfortable sharing that's going to be the things you can say when you're asking for help. These are some things I need help with because of my disability. And that's a wonderful skill to have. Communicating with others, asking for help, knowing how to solve problems, knowing the environments that you do well in. Some people do really well in a crowded, loud, out, they want to be out with people environment. And some people like to be more in a quiet environment, maybe alone or in a quiet setting where there's not a lot of commotion. So understanding that about yourself is really important, especially either if you're starting a business or if you're going to get a job. If you love to be around people all day, you're not going to be happy in a job where you're in the back working on a computer or doing things by yourself. If you want to be around people, you need to be in a job where you're going to be around people so that you're happy about that. So knowing that is important as well. Making decisions, setting goals, understanding how to create a budget and manage your money. Very important. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to be an accountant. You don't need to know how to file your own taxes. But what we want you to do is know this is the income that I have. These are my expenses. These are the way I want to spend my money. Maybe you're setting up savings account. So you're saving some money. Maybe you're saving up for something really awesome. Like Anna's going to tell you, she saved up some money for something very awesome that she got to do this year. So knowing that skill, again, very important. And then understanding your rights and what accommodations are available. That's on the self-advocacy checklist. I don't expect you to have all of these figured out at this point, but this is something you can work towards as you grow and evolve and learn more skills. You will be able to fill out your self-advocacy checklist and make more and more things on there, and so that you can be a stronger self-advocate in the future. All right, so now it's time for me to introduce our co-presenter, Ms. Anna Sasser. Anna is the owner and founder of a beautiful business called Downright Designs. And I'm going to do some question and answer with Anna so you all can get to meet her and learn more about her and her business. So I'm going to stop my sharing. Welcome, Anna. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, Anna, I have some questions I would like to ask you. First of all, why did you decide to start your own business?
I came up with the idea because people saw my art on social media and said they liked it and wanted it.
People saw your art on social media and wanted it. So that goes back to what Jenny said. If you have something you're interested in and good at, you need to make sure someone's willing to pay for that, whether it's a service or a product. And Anna found out that people wanted to buy her art. And so therefore, wow, that's a perfect way to start a business. So that's amazing. How long have you been working on it now, Anna?
Since 2018.
2018. Okay. And I skipped over, you were supposed to tell us where you live, and I just jumped right over introducing yourself. So sorry about that.
My name is Anna Salazar, and the cutest neighbor is 6 years old, and my favorite holiday is Christmas.
Oh, your favorite holiday is Christmas. That's also my favorite holiday. Yes. And you live
I live in Houston, Louisiana.
in Louisiana. Yep. And just so you know, next to Anna is her number one support on her support network, and that is her mom, Donna. So thank you, Donna, for being with us. All right. So my next question for you, Anna. What steps did you take to prepare you for starting your business?
When I started my business, I first took an entrepreneurship class from Celebrate EDU. Then I put in an hour walk. I also learned from my mistakes and asked for help when I needed it.
Yeah, I love that. So Anna did take some entrepreneurship classes from Celebrate EDU. She is one of our star students. She also received one of our micro grants, which I will be talking about later. So she went through some classes, applied to get a $500 grant to help her get her business started. She's continued to get some business coaching. But the most important thing you said was you've learned from your mistakes.
Yes.
It's never easy. It doesn't start out with everything's perfect. There's something called pivot. When you have to pivot, you're going down this path and all of a sudden you realize, oh, that's not really what people want. I'm going to go over here and try this instead. You've also learned to really evolve your products to be, you have different products for different customers. So you know that in Louisiana, they love peaches, right? So you have a lot of art with peaches on it. Those peaches are not going to probably sell in Colorado, right? So you've learned that you've evolved your business enough to be responsive to holidays and seasonal things or local things. So that's called, adapting your business. And you've done a great job doing that. So really awesome, Anna. So what do you like the most about having your own business, Anna?
I like to create designs, and I like to recipe the work in my own home. I also love making my own money and practice practice in my independence.
I love all of that. So you love making your designs because they are amazing. There's actually a little of Anna's artwork hanging behind her. If you can see, she has two of her beautiful angels and one of her fluid paintings as well, right there. Did you bring any other art with you to show us?
I do.
There is an angel tile. So Anna, Donna, you want to explain the process for how Anna does her tiles?
I will. It's 3D. It's raised. So we put modeling paste on a tile, and then it dries for 24 hours. And then Anna comes back and does all the painting. And so she does a lot of angels. They sell very well. And she makes them in different sizes. We do 3x6. This is 4x4, 6x6. And then these are the big canvas ones. So
yeah, those are on canvas. And what are those? Like 12 by 24 or something? Something like that.
8x16.
Oh, 8 by 16. Okay. So beautiful. And Anna loves to use glittery paint and just different colors. She's very creative. So she really throws her love of colors into all of her products. So exciting. And you also mentioned one other good thing is you get to work at home.
Yes.
You enjoy making money, which we will talk about. And then what was the last thing you said about having your own, what you loved about having your own business?
Adding confidence in my independence.
Your confidence and independence. So those are those skills, those are those self-advocacy traits that Anna has gained by having her own business, which is so great. So we know it isn't easy. So can you tell us a couple of the challenges that you've had as a business owner?
One challenge is keeping up with the extra holiday orders and planning ahead to help meet the demands.
There you go. Now that's a problem that not a bad problem to have, keeping up with all the orders. She's got so many orders, especially during the holidays. very
Mhm.
busy time. So you have to think again, that's sort of like problem solving and planning ahead. Okay, well, we're coming in October, we're coming in September, we got to start gearing up because we know the holidays are coming. So pre-planning and having that figured out. I'm sure that what happened the first year, you guys you were like didn't have it, you weren't prepared, right? So you got too many orders, you couldn't handle it, you were working late nights. I remember some of those 10-hour, 12-hour days with you, Anna. You were working on the weekends, you were just trying
Right?
so hard to keep up with your orders. So learning from that mistake, and well, it wasn't even a mistake, it was sort of like learning wow, this is something I can be better prepared for in the future. So that's great advice, because it isn't easy. We're never going to tell you it's easy, but it can be very rewarding at the same time. And then what advice, Anna, last question, and then we'll talk a little bit about the fun experience you got to have because of having the money you made at your business. What advice do you have for someone with Down syndrome or any other disability that might be considering starting a business?
Add the talent or idea that you have and think about what you might name your business. Start practicing and learn the talent better. Find that person that can help you. Whatever your talent is, start swimming big because it is going to take a lot of hard work. You should work hard, be yourself, dream big, and live in the moment.
Oh, Anna, that was so well said.
That was her. She wrote all of
Oh,
that.
Jessica, we're gonna need to like put that on a we're going to print that out and put that on the wall, and everybody that can be Anna's credo, of how to become an entrepreneur is beautifully well spoken, well written, very well written. Yeah, dream big and take your talents and just go for it. I love it. Well, I'm going to share my slide again because something really cool happened to Anna this year as the entrepreneur that she's become and as because of her success with her business. So, Anna, why don't you tell everybody about this?
We gotta start.
I know it's a long story.
Yes.
We have only about 5 more minutes with you, Anna, but you can tell this story because I'm sure people will love to hear it.
Yes. This is my dream. I actually pray for this moment to be a world girl, and I'm still emotional to this day. And I'm just
So Carlos
yes.
called you on
He
stage
got me on stage.
at the Big Time Rush
He
concert,
did.
and he sang to her.
He did. He said some more.
Only 4 girls in
Yes.
the entire concert get called on stage, and she
Yes.
was one of them.
That was my dream. I prayed for it. Probably in 2015, I prayed for it, and my prayers lifted my hands to prayers, and I'm living in this. I'm just happy to be a child of God.
Yeah. Well, Anna, you worked hard for that. You worked hard and
Mhm.
on your business all the time. Almost, you work on it constantly. Not you get vacations. I know we don't work, you don't work to the bone, but you work and you work hard and you sell a lot of products and you make a lot of money and you're able to use that money to do something really special, like go to this concert and happened to be the unbelievable opportunity to get on stage and have a personal serenade from Carlos. So I know there's a lot of people watching this webinar that are going, wow, that's really cool. But it doesn't have to be that. There's lots of benefits. I know for my son, pretty much every year he budgets his business money, and pretty much every year he goes to Comic-Con in San Diego and he uses that money to go to Comic-Con, and it's a big deal for him, and he's been doing it, I think, 14 years now. So there are rewards. It is a lot of work, but there are some nice rewards. So Anne, thank you so much. And you're going to stay on in case people have any questions for you at the end. So thank you for being on this webinar. You were amazing, and you're an inspiration to everyone. that you can do something and you can use your talents to turn it into something really special. So thank you, Anna, for being on this webinar with us.
Yes, thank you.
There's a few other entrepreneurs we know with Down syndrome. There's a lot of entrepreneurs with Down syndrome that we know, and they're amazing, and they all do. But what I want you to think about in this section is how different all of their businesses are. They're doing something that they want to do and that they are good at and that they enjoy. So let's see, we got another artist, Allie. Allie does a totally different kind of art than Anna. Allie does coloring on these coloring sheets, and she spends hours doing that. And then then the coloring goes on to different products, whether it's wood cutouts or jewelry or Christmas ornaments. And Allie loves doing the coloring, and it just is like a wonderful thing. Allie also works full time at Children's Hospital Cincinnati. So she's double duty. She's working full time and running a successful business. So get to know Allie. She could go to her website or you can, most of these entrepreneurs are also going to be featured on the Celebrate shop. You can order their products online, or you can find them a lot of them you can find in the NDSS holiday guide as well. Houston Vandergriff, he's a photographer and he travels the world and he's gotten amazing photographs. So what did he do with his photographs? He put them in a calendar and they're beautiful. I mean, all these, and there's a little story of where he was when he took the pictures. So again, a very talented man with a lens, right? And he turned it into something, a viable business, and it's called Downs and Towns. We have our good friend Grace Key, who what she does is likes to create fun sayings. Like my favorite is, "Hey, party people." And she puts her sayings along with some art on t-shirts, tote bags, sweatshirts, hats, different things. And she has a very successful business, just showcasing how amazing she can be. And she wants to spread kindness as well. So everything comes with her little signature heart, and tells everyone that they should be kind. We have Max Mix. Max is he's from Kansas City, grew up around a lot of barbecue. His dad was a big barbecue guy, and I think his uncle as well. And he started thinking about making spices, dry rubs that can go on meat, on steak, on chicken, on fish, and pork. And so he's launched his business, Max Mix. And you can, again, order on his website, or there is the Celebrate shop, which I'm going to mention in a minute. We're doing on time. We're doing good. All right. We have Matthew. Matthew is the barbecue sauce man of the world. He makes barbecue sauce. Matthew's Bonfire Barbecue. He has 3 different flavors of barbecue. He has Carolina, he has Chipotle, and he has Bold, which is the hot and really good. Fantastic barbecue sauce. Again, you can order from Matthew, or he's also on the Celebrate shop. Where does Matthew live, Jenny?
I believe he lives in Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. Yeah. And just so you know, we've got people from all these entrepreneurs are all over the country. We have Miss Emma. She is Elf Emma, as we call her. She makes these gnomes. She lives out in New York. She started this business during COVID. She likes to paint. She started her dad cuts the wood out and she decorates them. She started it during COVID. She started just putting them out in her front yard, just kind of to decorate. And people started coming over and asking if they could buy them. Similar to Anna, people saw her art and said, wait, we want to buy this. So that's when you get a great business. So Elf Emma, we do have some of her gnomes on the Celebrate shop as well. And I think the big answer, the big takeaway from this webinar is everyone has the ability to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to go to business school. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have anything more than your drive and your inspiration and your hard work and your support network. Would you agree with that, Anna? That seems about right. Yeah. All right. We have a few resources to share. we already learned that NDSS has their employment program, which you can learn more about on their website. They also created an entrepreneurship guide that was created along with a few other collaborators. It has a lot of interviews with entrepreneurs. It answers a lot of questions. It has some resources. I will have Jessica will be able to share with you how you can get access to. It's a printed and a digital guide, so we'll put a link to that as well. Jenny and I are the co-founders of Celebrate EDU. As you know, we offer online entrepreneurship classes. Those are the classes that Anna went through. We will be starting new classes again at the first of the year. You can email us hello@celebrateedu.org. It'll be on the last slide. Or we have, I believe, a sign up where you can get on the waiting list for the entrepreneurship classes that will be starting in January. As I mentioned before, Celebrate EDU also gives out microgrants, $500 microgrants to individuals with disabilities. I'm going to let Jenny talk about this because I am not a part of the microgrant committee, but Jenny is.
Yes, so we about 3 or 4 times a year offer micro grants. So we have a process, an application process. It has to be an early stage business that hasn't made over $3,000. The goal is that the $500 grant will really help you invest in starting a business from the beginning. And we have a committee that reviews all of the applications, and then we'll ask you if you make it past the first round to submit a video, and then you will get $500 for your business as well as coaching. We are hoping that you will apply. We are currently closed, but it'll reopen again in January for the first round of 2026.
And I do want to state one thing. These have to be self-advocate driven businesses,
Yes.
not parent-run businesses. And I appreciate that, parents wanting to start businesses to help their loved ones. That's a path that some people do go down. We know about those, we know about some of those businesses. They've been really successful. That the parents start a business and the entrepreneur and the person with disability works at the business. We don't fund that type of business. This has to be 100% driven by the entrepreneur with disabilities and driven by them. Is that correct, Jenny?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And we had, I don't know why I can't go to the next slide. Oh, there. The Celebrate Shop. We've mentioned it a few times. So last weekend, Celebrate EDU hosted a pop-up market in Denver. We had over 500 people attend. We sold over 1,200 products. We do this differently than some places. We buy the products directly from the entrepreneurs. So when you go to the celebrateshop.org to purchase, you can buy products from all there. We have over 30 entrepreneurs products on the shop this year. You can buy their products and then we will ship them all in one. So you, instead of going to Anna's website and ordering and Houston's website and Max's website, you go to one location, everything's on there. The entrepreneurs are making 90% of the cost of what you're paying is going directly to the entrepreneurs because we already bought the product from them. So we own their product and we will ship it to you when you place your order. So it really encourage you to do that. The shop opened, it opened yesterday. Online shop opened yesterday. It'll be open until the 4th of January unless we start selling. I just told Anna we've already sold out of quite a bit of her products. So unfortunately, you'll see it on there. It'll say sold out. But next year we will have more and more product going forward. And I believe that is it. That's the end of our presentation. These are our contact information. I'm sure you can get this other places. I think Jessica's going to come back and see if there's any questions.
Yes, thank you guys so much. So we have one question right now. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to put that in the question and answer button on the bottom of your screen. This one is actually for Anna's mom. They would like to know, what support have you helped Anna with on the back end for her business?
Well, beginning, I did not come from an entrepreneurship background myself. So we just did it together.
Yes.
We discovered things that we needed help with and reached out to people that could help us. And then someone told us about Linda. So we went through that together.
Yes.
And I do help Anna. I call myself her art assistant, her shop assistant, and her financial assistant. So we do it together and learn together. And so I try to let Anna be involved in as many of the aspects as possible. And then sometimes we just focus on one area and let her learn that skill. And then I might choose another skill. Okay, Anna, let's work on this part. And so, but I do help her keep up with orders, doing some of the grunt work.
Awesome.
There's some
Anna, somebody, oh, sorry. Go
Yeah, there's
ahead.
some questions in the
Yeah, I
chat.
was just going to say, I saw that. Anna, what was the most important thing you've learned through your business? I know we're putting you on the spot here.
Wow.
What you've learned.
I know. No, I know that the best perfect, really, the best perfect. We always mess up, and we
Keep trying.
keep trying and keep trying and keep trying.
Nobody is perfect. That's a great answer.
Great advice. And if you mess up, you just try again and you learn from it and move on, right? I think that that's a really important life skill for many people, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, but especially if you're starting a business, to give yourself grace and learn from the mistakes that we're all inevitably about to make.
And Anna, I don't know if you saw that comment, but it started out with, Anna, you are amazing, and so is your art. That was the comment.
Well, thanks. Thank
And
you.
then there's another question, and I want to ask Jenny, well, I think Jenny could answer it. Any advice on how to market your business? How do you get sales? It kind of is a good segue into the next webinar that we're hosting in a couple weeks, but Jenny.
Yes. Well, my first piece of advice is knowing who you're selling to. So a lot of people think if they have a product, they just need to get people to see it, but who you are getting to see it is important. So not everybody will be your customer, and that's okay. I think that a lot of people try to sell to everybody, and then that's where it gets really overwhelming. So depending on the product or service you're selling, I say first, really figure out who your target customer is. That does not mean that other people won't buy it, but who are you really trying to sell to? Women, men, people in a certain area, people with a certain interest, that sort of thing. And then where are they? Are they reading certain magazines? Are they reading certain blogs? How can we find them, engage with them in wherever the spaces that those people currently are? So that's my advice, is to really know where they are, and then really promoting it wherever that is. If it's at farmers markets, if it's, it really depends on who you're selling to, I guess is my answer.
Well, and Anna you want to talk about Reston Apothecary, Donna, and how it's been a great place to sell. And from that, it's a local gift shop in our area. And I was talking about making products that are appropriate for your local area. So that's when you do a lot of the peaches and all that. But you want to talk about that, Donna? Because I think that's really helpful, because it's a really good way to get started.
Well, actually, it's a pharmacy, and she has a huge gift shop inside. And so we already were doing business with her. And so in the beginning, I just reached out to her and asked her if she would be willing to sell Anna's art. And so we talked to her and worked out a deal. And so she's been a great help. And so we can see what sells there.
Yes.
And then so we just make more of it. And then people locally reach out to us and say, what do you have at the store? Can you have some angels at the store? And so it's good to have that local connection.
Yes.
And that's how Allie started too. If you remember that, Jenny, that metallic giraffe, there was a small gift shop in her her local community that she started selling, and then she did go to some farmers or some, craft show, farmers markets kind of thing. She doesn't do that anymore because she's too busy. And the same as Anna. Like Anna's so busy that she doesn't need to spend a Saturday or whatever at a farmer's market because she's getting online orders, she's getting wholesale orders, she's getting social media orders, she's selling in local shops. So that's how it can evolve, but it's not going to happen fast, and I think people just say, "Oh, everyone's going to buy my products or everyone's going to want my service." It's really starting small, and that's when you're going to be successful. If you try to start too big, you're not going to succeed. I promise you. You can ask any entrepreneur, even famous entrepreneurs will tell you have to start small and
Small,
really know who your target customers are.
And the other thing I will say is to be consistent. So, if you are going to use social media specifically as a strategy, you have to be posting a lot. Like you can't just have a post here and there. It has to be a really targeted, consistent strategy. So I know that it is a really powerful tool, and there's a lot of people on there and finding products on there. But you have to really be consistent. It can't just be like, oh, I'll post one time and people are going to see it. It has, for example, Grace from Candidly Kind, they post all the time, and that's how that is a huge sale for her. They are on there all the time. It is their big full-time job, is posting on social media. So, and fulfilling orders. And so I just think that people see that and think, oh, I can do that too, but realize how much work that is. It is not easy. So but it does work if you are able to be consistent, but it does take time. It wasn't an overnight thing. It really took years to build. So.
And there's another question that says, can the grant be used for online digital art courses?
I would say
Any?
I would say no, in that unless you have a really specific business idea already created. Our committee really looks at, do you have a business idea? Not just like I'm exploring the business idea. They really want to see that you have, hey, I am already selling, or this is the exact product I'm going to make. And if you needed to take digital art classes to make that product, potentially, but it has to be as specific as possible. That's my advice. We do get a lot of applicants for microgrants. I think we get about 25 a cycle, and we give approximately 2 to 3. So, and that's all about how specific you can be. That is my biggest piece of advice, as specific as possible. If you apply with one product, that is a stronger ask than here's a whole thing I want to do. I want to do clothes, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. That is not as strong as an application as I want to make this one thing and I'm going to do it really well. Like Linda said, start small. And that's what our committee looks for as well.
Because those are the successful businesses that start small and grow, and they grow naturally. And that's why I was saying it's an achievable dream. You don't need a lot of money to get started. You don't need you don't have to have the big website or open a shop. I mean, we've had people like, I want to open a restaurant. Well, don't start there. You might want to start at a farmer's market selling some products or getting a little food pop up or something, a food truck. You're not going to start by opening a restaurant. So we want you to get that experience of being an entrepreneur in a way that's really attainable. We're not scaring you off and saying, don't do it. We're saying, do it in a way that can work. And then if that takes off and it goes really well and people love what you're doing, or, the food you're making or whatever, yeah, then you can grow, but don't start that big. Don't start big, start small. Start small.
Great. And just as a quick recap, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar in the next day or so. Just give our comms team a few days to get it live on the website, but I will be sending an email with the resources that Jenny and Linda shared, along with a PDF of the slides for your reference. When the webinar closes, if you have a minute, there will be a brief survey that will pop up on the screen, and we would appreciate any feedback you can give us. NDSS wants to continue to provide the best webinars and programming that we can, so any feedback that you have would be greatly appreciated. And then finally, this is the first in a series of webinars this month, leading into December, I should say, on entrepreneurship. And so the next webinar will be on December 3rd and it will be called Stand Out and Shine, How to Build Your Brand. And I believe Linda is going to join us on that as well. And then after that, on December 6th and December 9th and December 16th is a two-part series to wrap up the entrepreneurship webinar. So I will include that link here quickly in the chat in case you would like to register for those coming up. And then you can also find them on our website as well if you don't do it now, but you would register just as you did for this one. So thank you, Jenny, Linda, and Anna. We so much appreciate you sharing your time and your story, and we hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you, everyone.
You.
Thanks, everybody.